Thank you everybody for joining us today. We're very excited about doing our first Black Friday webinar for LATAM. We have a very powerful panel today that join us and will be sharing a lot of information for you to use in your strategies for this holiday season. All right, so before we start, I would like to share the panel that we will have today. So we have speakers from Google, MercadoPago, and from Winclap, of course. And I would let yourself to introduce, so you can share a little bit about in your daily works. Galli, we would like to start.
Yeah, sure, Maggie. So, for those who don't know me, I've been working at Google for 6 years now. Pretty much all of my time working at Google, I've been working with partners, with agencies, and this past 12 months, working really closely to agencies regarding apps and our tech partners such as Winclap and Bidalgo in the region. And I'm really excited to be here with you guys to share a little more about our insights from Google and to see everyone here having the best Black Friday ever.
Amazing, Galli. Thanks for that. Danny, would you like to?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Daniel Arra. I've been working on digital marketing for almost 8 years now. I have a lot of experience working on travel and e-commerce and now the fintech industry. I've been dealing a lot with apps and mobile and desktop integration for almost all my marketing career. And we've always been dealing with lots of special events, being Black Friday one of the biggest events of the year, not only in Brazil, but also for all of Latin American countries. And I'm very excited to try to share a bit of what we're doing on this webinar.
Thank you, Danny. And well, I'm going to present myself. I'm Pia. I'm the head of product at Winclap. I joined the team about 1 month and a half ago, so I'm new here. But well, I was working in the digital industry for the last 6 years and a half. So I was working as a mobile growth leader and manager, and also for engagement in Despegar and Decolar. So I'm really happy to be here today. And now we are going to start with the webinar itself. But first of all, I would like Danny to tell us a little bit more about MercadoPago, please.
Yeah, obviously. Thanks, Pia. I want to focus our for this webinar on our wallet side, because MercadoPago is trying to we've made a revolution in the digital industry for banking, and we've created solutions not only for the sellers but also for the payers. And since this webinar would be specifically on mobile, I try to focus on what we're doing on the payer side, which is the mobile wallet. We've been able to grow exponentially over the last years our wallet engagement with our users, having 4.5 million active payers, and we've provided solutions not only for payments such as cell phone recharge or recharging a transportation card or paying your service bills, but we've also managed to make a big headway on the fintech revolution on the QR side, using QR payments as one of the leading innovations in the Latin American countries. What we're seeing is that people are using and trying to use even more our wallet solution because it's much easier than other solutions. It's faster and it's also safer, and this has been a huge advantage for us, and we've been trying to push those boundaries in what we do, not only amplifying what we do on our product side, but also trying to acquire a bigger customer base by showing them the advantages of using this wallet and all that we can provide.
Thank you, Danny. And now, Galli, maybe you want to tell us a little bit more about Google?
Yeah, after this great introduction about MercadoPago, I was telling Danny how big they are in Brazil. We are based here, so everywhere I go, people can pay with MercadoPago, which is amazing. Well, about Google, I think all of you guys know what we do here regarding web campaigns. But I was willing to bring you like the freshest news that we have on the app space, which is something that AppsFlyer just refreshed us about a couple weeks ago. As you guys know, we've been investing a lot on getting our campaigns better, increasing performance when it comes to user acquisition. And I mean, these past weeks have been great for us because AppsFlyer just told the markets that Google took the lead regarding the number of installs. So we are, when you talk globally speaking about user acquisition, we are the network that drives the most user acquisition among all the networks. So we are really excited and really proud of this because this is something that we are trying to do for a long time. And a little bit about the webinar. I guess my 2 cents here is to get you guys the most data and the most we can get as Google for you guys to have the best Black Friday ever. I hope with us as well.
Thank you, Galli. And now, just for all the ones from the audience that doesn't know Winclap already, we are a marketing technology and app-first company. We help marketers manage their campaigns and all their marketing efforts. And we are specialized in programmatics and also in search and social. So we are mainly here to help you achieve your performance and help you by building insights and automatically sending them to you. Now we are moving forward to the details of the webinar. So as you knew, we were talking about, well, Black Friday with 2 experts. So we wanted to start from the basics anyway. And we wanted to know from them, what do you think are the keys to having a successful Black Friday campaign?
Okay, I'll go. Oh yeah, I'll go, Pia. I think that that's one of the biggest questions on the webinar. I think that one of the key things that we should try to do is, first of all, the basics. Try to speak to what your audience needs, and that is basic. And it sounds obvious, but many people or many companies, what they do is they try to see what other companies are doing, and they try to copy exactly those strategies. And your app or your site or your needs are covered by what your customers actually ask for. So what you should do is try to listen to what they need at first, build that audience. It could be with a pre-Black Friday campaign or with a big Black Friday event. And once you know what they want, focus on that and try to bring a better value with a different message or a different key visual. But it's important to address what they want at that time. The second thing is obviously use that strategy and run it across all the platforms that you can. And then once you do that, you should really try to drill down on each of the audiences that you've created. Try to isolate them and speak to them directly and with a different message. Maybe you're finding out that your audience is based on geo-targeting, they have a different need, or based on a different sex. Maybe women want other things than men do, or they have different interests. Those audiences are very key to knowing a different message that drives either traffic to your website, traffic to your mobile app, or traffic to your user acquisition.
Yeah, and the key thing for me regarding to have a successful Black Friday, I guess, along what Dennis is saying, is to be prepared, right? So we know that Black Friday is the biggest event of the year if we talk about retail, and we see along these past couple years that is growing towards other verticals as well. So the ones that prepare themselves better get better results. So I know that we are getting close. We are like 6 or 7 weeks from the actual day. So I mean, it's never too late. So I kind of put a couple of things that I saw not only on apps but also on web ecosystem as well. So to have like this big promotion day before the Black Friday, it's great since you kind of test the volume of users you will get in your web page, in your mobile site, or in your app is a good thing. Also, one thing that I can see that is getting more track in Brazil, especially, is to not only think about the day, but extend a little bit this date. Try to get the most out of it. Maybe doing like a Black Week, or even as some other retail players are doing like a Black Month or something like that. So you can kind of get the most out of the dates. And I kind of brought this survey that we ran last year, right after the Black Friday, which we asked a couple, not a couple, but more than 500 people where they bought, where did they buy the Black Friday stuff, you know, presents or whatever. And they said that, of course, internet is the majority, but physical stores are growing a lot. 39% is physical stores. But one thing that is great for us to understand is how apps are getting closer to and getting more important in these dates as well. Apps became the fourth channel in this survey regarding sales in Black Friday, and 13% of the people answered that they bought the things that they needed inside their apps. It's more than supermarkets or hypermarkets, for example, which is a lot. So one thing that you guys are going to see me talking a lot is be prepared for the date, test a lot to get the most out of it.
Thank you both, Danny and Gali. I want to say to all the assistants that maybe if you have some questions, you're muted right now, but you can go and do on the chat. You can write them on the chat, and we will answer them at the end of the webinar. So we will try to answer all the questions you have with Danny and Gali. And now, moving on to the next topic here, we want to know a little bit more about ad creatives, and we want to understand what is the role you think they have during Black Friday.
So in Google's point of view, we just ran some surveys, and we can see that creatives are becoming much more important in the apps ecosystem as they have never been. We discovered that more than 50% of our ROI is going to come from the creatives that you are showing to your users. And Black Friday, as Danny said, is the same. You have to have coherence between creatives. The things that you're doing web has to be the same as app. But talking about our solution, which is app campaigns, as you guys may already know, it's a technology that we use is pretty much machine learning based. So our tool has to learn what's going on to drive more importance, more qualified traffic for you. So I would say kind of uploading new creatives a little earlier on the campaign would be better to get better results for Google campaigns. And we also roll out a new beta. Actually, it's not a beta, but is almost in 100% of our Google accounts, which is ad groups for ad campaigns. So you can upload creatives just for Black Friday in this new ad group, so you can get most of the reports and see what's going on. So I mean, uploading first tries to leverage the machine learning, and as Danny said, be thoughtful about the creative side.
Yeah, and I could not stress the point that Gali said about uploading your creatives with anticipation, because be prepared for change. I think that's a very key message for Black Friday, and the more that you prepare, the better. And one of the things that we've seen happen in the past is that everyone wants to have a different creative at the time of Black Friday, and not only the agencies are working very hard, but also probably your display team or your creative team are pushing the last video assets or the last creative assets at the last minute. And if you wait until that last minute to upload your creatives, there will be a possibility that problems might rise. So I think that what my point here about the ad creatives is, be as coherent as you can between the message that you are entering or that you are saying in your digital media strategy, either your Google ads or your Facebook ads or your digital media and video, and the landing page that actually has the message. Not only what you're saying, if you have a big discount or you have a big promotion or something that's different from what you guys were doing in the past, but also with the look and feel of your message. If you're going all black, as many companies do, your creative should look the same as your web page or your app, or even your slides on your download page, either on Apple or Android. Your store should have the same look and feel as your app. We've seen an increase in user base acquisition and a decrease in spend when we've used creatives that look the same as the landing page that you're using. So that's my 2 cents there.
And just to add one more thing that I thought right now about what you're saying, Danny, maybe go all black during Black Friday is kind of what everyone's gonna do, right? Maybe you can get a sense of what's gonna work and do some A/B testing, right? You can get these insights in a couple hours or a couple days between what's working and what's not working. And maybe if you already have this preconceived idea that going all black is gonna be the best way to communicate, maybe it's not. So that's
a good point. Yeah.
Thank you, Gali and Dani, for all this information you're sharing with us. So now we are going to move to the next topic. What are your opinion on the influence that each media channel will generate, each of them, and also the global impact on all of them during the Black Friday period?
Yeah, I can kind of start with this question. I mean, even if you have a huge user base, like let's take Mercado Livre. I think 1 out of 4 smartphones in Brazil has Mercado Livre installed, which is amazing actually. But like probably you haven't stressed all the user base that you can get out of the the whole user base inside your market. So I mean, if you talk about the influence that each media channel can bring you, for sure. If you talk about Google, we can bring new users to your app, right? Pia, I think can you just change this slide? I think there is another one that I kind of shared. No, I think it's kind of way back, but
I think it's way back.
yeah, but like, I mean, if you talk about Black Friday, it's a huge moment that's it's this one where people want to maybe don't have your app still, and probably most of the people don't have your app. That's the most valuable users for you. I made sure I brought this thing for you guys too. This is a campaign that we ran last month talking about the next Black Friday 2019, and we discovered that when we asked it, do you have your favorite retail shop, do you have their app in your mobile phone, and 72% of the e-shoppers said that they don't have it, and 41% said that they never considered, and they didn't even know that the retail shop had the app. And this is something great, actually, because you still have a lot of room for user acquisition, and this is the time that you can get it. And talking about the difference between the app ecosystem and the web ecosystem too, guys, I think you have to get the user to download your app before the Black Friday. If you wait for the actual Friday to increase your budget in your campaign, maybe not. Actually, it is too late. So we have a huge room still for the user acquisition.
Yeah, and just to complement on what Galli was saying is that I believe that there is no right or correct media mix on what you should do on your for your strategy, because each company, just as Galli said, has a bigger acquisition user usage based on digital already. Maybe people are moving to digital, so you have to have a marketing campaign in order to drive users to download your app or visit your site. But my recommendation here is basically just what we're seeing is that we're seeing a very big exponential growth on competitive shifts on digital and video usage. What I mean by that is that our own competitors and the marketing industry is moving from traditional TV or ads on the streets to testing specifically video, social media, and display. And that shift has been growing almost exponentially in the last year and a half. In 2019 was a very big one. And what we're seeing is that people are not only shifting their budgets to digital on video and social media, but their strategies are being digital first, and then or testing out on digital first, and then moving to TV or radio. Because what digital has that you don't have on other networks is the ability to A/B test, see what's working for your audience, and then driving that strategy all the way back to your TV or your offline efforts. And so to sum up, I think that as what we're seeing as marketers is that the competition is moving to digital, and if you're going to test something out on digital, it should be on video, on display, and on social media.
Yeah, stressing a little bit, just a little bit more. I have to say that video is not the next big thing. It is the thing right now. In Brazil, we're seeing that YouTube is huge, and maybe sometimes not. And I'm not gonna say all the time, but sometimes most of the times we see better results for app campaigns on video than on text or image assets, which is amazing. And this other thing that Danny said about testing in digital and going to TV is something that we've been doing a lot in Google. We have this thing called brand lift, which is something that's maybe I think MercadoPago already did a couple times with us. So maybe you can test your creatives and see what is respond best for your audience, and then people use the best one to TV, which is something that Danny said. So go video, and for sure it's the way to go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for all this information again. That was really, really great and useful. So now I've heard sometimes that people are not so comfortable with pre-launching Black Friday because it may cause an impact on the actual sales before Black Friday. And I want to know your opinion about it. Would you run a campaign to pre-launch Black Friday? And if you can mention any benefits or disadvantages you may have on that strategy?
Yeah, I actually I try to think about this downside about having this pre-launch campaign, Black Friday campaign, but I actually don't see any downside. Of course, people can wait a little bit to buy with discounts in Black Friday, but you can straight up the conversation beforehand. So even though they wait a little bit for Black Friday, they probably are gonna buy other stuff in your site. You know, they're gonna buy more. So if you do a right strategy, I don't see this downside for pre-launch of Black Friday. And I would like to stress 4 things here. Launching doing like this pre-launch for Black Friday. Maybe you can do this audience building for re-engagement. So using your user base from last year, people who bought from you last Black Friday, you can re-engage them in this pre-launch. Or maybe using your user base from your offline stores. You can use them in a way to do push notifications, for example, or re-engagements, or website the same. Test creatives, the same thing that we said, and UX and UI possibilities. Doing this pre-launch maybe is a good way for you to get a sense of which UX is going to work more inside your app. And as Google, I have to say that our solution is completely machine learning based. So feed the machine always with this pre-launch campaign.
Yeah, I will not agree with Galli. No, I think that he's saying something that is very true. I mean, I would not. I would always encourage you guys to test a pre-Black Friday campaign, and I'll get to that point in a second. But the truth is that you should not test a pre-Black Friday campaign just because. And I think that the reason is that if you don't have a polished customer experience, or your creatives are not correctly set, or your strategy is still struggling, pre-launching a Black Friday campaign could drive worse results than not launching at all. But if you have your product ready and your messages are lined across all the channels, what a pre-campaign will give you is actually a head start on getting a feel on what your or on your campaign impact. And what I mean by that is you will know how much your costs are, how much traffic you're driving, or either to your app, your store, or your mobile web. You're able to A/B test your messages, and it will give you time to tweak your strategy and ultimately drive better performance. I think that if you are at that point, at that stage, it's definitely a go for the pre-launch Black Friday campaign. But if you're not there yet, I think that you could do 2 strategies. Either wait until that is polished and you have at least a site where you can send traffic, or have a very small audience target and try to test results from that and then move on or move forward to a bigger audience base. But I think it's very important to, as I said before, be coherent with what you're showing and the message that you're passing along to your customer base.
Thank you both of you. Now we are going to move to the last question of the webinar, but first of all, I would like to remember to everyone on the audience that if they are having any question they want us to answer later today when we finish, you can go to the chat box and you can leave your question there. So now, in the final question, we have this. We want you to give some advice to share the marketers here on what would be a great building strategy for Black Friday.
Okay, I'll take that one because that's my name there. But I think that as having lots of years doing this strategy and trying to see what works and what not, I think that the best advice I can give people who are either starting their Black Friday campaign or doing this for the first time is just have a lean and adaptable marketing strategy that is across all channels. And what I mean by that is you should have your creatives being easily adaptable by sizes or by content or by messages, so that you can really test out what is working and what not. And if your display ads are working, you should be able to quickly build all your ad formats there. And if your video, or if not, if your video strategy is working, you should be able to cut and paste and use the 16:9 format or landscape on YouTube and adapt that to your Instagram ads, and which are 4:5. Or you should be able to quickly adapt your messaging if a buy now or shop now or learn more is working better. You should be able to adapt that to your other strategy. I would not pre-buy most of my inventory, because one of the insights that we've learned is that you should be prepared for change. I mean, last year's Black Friday is not going to be the same as this year's Black Friday, and it will not be the same as next year's. So you should be able to change and be prepared for that. So the leaner your marketing strategy is, the quicker that you can adapt and change your creatives and adapt them to one message or one platform or the other, the better results you should have. The next my next learning or my next recommendation is, if you're able to measure, you should measure everything you can. Measuring is something that is one of the main advantages of digital and one of the main curses of digital, because we are as marketers we are asked to drive the biggest amount of traffic at the lowest cost and bring the biggest sales. The reason is that we can actually measure that. So the more you can measure, the better your tests and your results will be. So either if you have Google Analytics or you have any other measuring platform, or you're using your own, be consistent with what you measure, and be consistent with measuring that across all platforms. Those results will not only drive better insights on what you're going to do for Black Friday, but also insights on your audiences, so you can tackle not only your Black Friday strategy, but the audience that you brought there, tackle it with other messages in the future. The biggest learning that you can have is have a big customer base that goes into your site, be able to bucket them into different categories, and then market them accordingly, not only on Black Friday, but on the future. And last of all, from my end for Black Friday, is just have fun, because Black Friday is one of the biggest times of the year for sales, specifically on digital. And if you're not afraid to test out and test and it would bring the most creative part of your company to the test, and your customers are expecting something different. So why not have fun and show them something that you can change, or you can be different, and that can actually drive better results. I don't know if you agree with that, Galli.
Completely agree with you, Danny. And I would like to take another view out of the learnings that we had in this couple Black Fridays that we've been here in the markets. And of course, preparation. I'm not going to talk more about preparing, because we kind of said a couple times this word here. But something that Danny said is they are expecting something from your brand. And they're expecting something not only from your brand or your website, but they're expecting something from your app as well, something different. And I actually put three things here in the slides that are the main things for the Black Friday. It seems to be obvious, but it's kind of not. If you remember, like if you take Black Friday a couple of years ago, like maybe 6 or 7 years ago, 5 years ago, we used to call, some people used to call it Black Fraud, because retail shops only like decrease, they increase the price to decrease afterwards, and it made no sense. So what people are expecting in this Black Friday, and we found out this by a survey here that we done already. Told you guys about that, is not only free shipping, which is still the most important thing for people to download your app, but also they want guaranteed best prices, so they don't want to be fooled regarding prices. And one thing that I really feel that is really exclusive for the app ecosystem is they're only gonna download your app if they see the value out of downloading your app. And the value is exclusivity on offers. So Black Friday is already a great date, or a great week, or a great month for the customers to have great deals, but maybe they can have even greater deals inside your app. And app, as long as I understand, is all about the experience. So, and as Daniel said, have fun, but have fun having this great experience for the customers as well. So I would like just to talk a little more about this, talking a little more about this business kind of approach. So not only preparing, but being there for what your customers want. And of course, it's not only be prepared for the dates, but for after the dates, how you're gonna ship these products. The worst experience your customer can get is to buy a lot of products from your brands, and then you don't ship them, or you kind of keep the products like 20 days without shipping it. And another thing that I can say here regarding apps ecosystem that is kind of different from the web ecosystem is you have to get your user to download your app before the date. I think I put on this slide here, Pia. If you can go back, there's a slide that shows the download, the app downloads from a couple brands that we selected here, and it shows that in November, people download 60% more apps for retail than they do in October. And
yeah,
the thing is,
can go back to slides, Pia, so you can show them.
Yeah, and the thing is about apps that I found really, I think it's one more.
Yeah, back, back. The other back.
More back, the other
Yeah.
one.
The other back. There you go.
Oh, this one. The other one, yeah. So the thing is that is particularly to the ecosystem is that you have to get your user downloaded your app beforehand. So if you take, of course, we have this huge spike in downloads during the day of the Black Friday, but in November, people download 60% more than October retail apps. And if you take a look at this other graph here in the right, in the 2 weeks before the date, it is getting warmer and warmer. And one thing that I found really interesting actually is like when I was seeing these numbers and this stuff is that on Black Friday, electronics is still very important and people buy a lot of smartphones, right? So after Black Friday, we have this average downloads 37% more than before Black Friday. So people buy new smartphones and they have to download apps again. So get ready, not only for Black Friday, but for December as well. Because people are gonna still, they have new phones, so they're gonna download new apps too. So this is something that I found really interesting about the apps in Black Friday.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gali. Well, we're running into the last 5 minutes of the webinar, so we are going to answer two of the questions that we have here from the assistants. The first, I think, Danny, you can answer that one. They are asking, what about the current activity during the Black Friday period? It means you need to pause everything and then just launch Black Friday, and what are you going to do with your current campaigns?
Okay, that's a great question. I would definitely not recommend pausing your ongoing campaigns. What we usually do for that segment is changing the ad creative by changing the messages, because we usually have a remarketing campaign or a product campaign that's usually launching or always going. And what we do there is we change the ad creative for that specific campaign. As Gali said, we do it prior to Black Friday so that we can have those creatives approved and tested. And for acquisition, which is the other part of our marketing strategy, we usually have the ad with a different message, but the same look and feel as before. That's because of two reasons. One is that the algorithms for machine learning take their time to learn what's working best. So if you change everything or you pause everything at once, it's very hard for the system to quickly relearn. So we use the same acquisition creatives there. And the second reason is that our marketing spend, when you use a very big shift, it takes time for the system to adapt, and we don't have the same delivery as we have when we started the campaigns at the beginning. Was that clear?
Yes, it was great. Thank you, Danny. And now a question that maybe Gali can help us with. Can you give us a couple of companies that always excel during Black Friday campaigns for their creatives? Do you have any example there of great companies during Black Friday?
I was thinking about that, guys. I think it's a very broad question. We have a couple examples for the clients that we take care more closely, and I really like wine, so I really look for promotions on wine in Brazil, and we have a couple of big players here. I would say that Evino is doing a great job in our region. If you don't know them, you should Google them. They are doing good, not only because they prepare for the Black Friday and their creatives are kind of great, because they just show me the grapes that I like the most. Maybe they do what Danny was saying about bucketing me on the wine that I like. So I would say that they do a great job, but of course in all verticals we have good players doing great creatives. But I mean, Black Friday is not only creatives, right? Is all this preparation. So in my personal view, because I really like wine, Evino in Brazil always does a great Black Friday.
Thank you, Gali. Thank you for these examples. And well, thank you again for sharing all this knowledge you built through these years. We are running out of time here, so we have a lot of extra questions that we are not going to address today. But anyway, we are going to respond them and send them to you, to all of you, through email, and you will be able to follow up on them and be able to see the response to them. So thank you very much for joining, and let's hope you join for the next webinar we will be organizing soon. So thanks for your time, and thank you very much, Danny and Gali, for sharing with us.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a great Black Friday.
Thanks, guys. I hope you all have a great Black Friday. See you.
Thank you. Thanks to you too. Bye-bye.